What's up, guys? I'm Jacob Roden, and I'm here joined with
Devin Ortega,
Dylan Matthews,
and Jaden Stevens.
and welcome back to the All My Friends Are Warriors podcast. So,
what's up, guys? It's gonna, yeah, you got that.
so
Yeah,
yeah,
it's all you.
today, I think we're gonna be talking about stoicism, philosophy. One of my favorite episodes and something that I really like to learn.
Yeah.
I'm actually really excited to be a part of this episode.
Yeah.
Um,
I think the first philosophy we should talk about is like what you just said is probably most of our favorites, which is stoicism. A lot of people get stoicism mixed up. I think one of the main things with stoicism is like keeping control of your emotions. And a lot of people are like, oh, Stoics, they don't have emotions.
But yeah, it's the people get it confused. There's a lowercase stoicism and an uppercase stoicism.
Yeah.
Your lowercase stoicism is why people tend to they don't like when they hear stoicism because they think of it as the lowercase, which is you don't show your emotion, like your uncle or your dad at the family get together at dinner, and something happens, they just don't really have a reaction. They're just kind of what they call stoic about it.
Yeah.
And then, which is, I mean, sure, that's a stoicism, but when we're talking about it, we mean the philosophy stoicism, the uppercase stoicism,
Yeah.
where it's you have emotion, but you control it. You, like, something happens to you. There's 3 steps to it. Something happens to you. You look under what happens to you with, like, a microscope, and you analyze it, and then you respond the other, I guess, would be something happens to you, you don't respond, or you have a reaction. You don't really analyze it.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So-
So that's the main difference between
Yeah.
the two.
With stoicism, I think everyone should practice, a little bit of stoicism because all of us have emotions and all of us have, we get tendencies where like we want to take it out on something. We just want to get super mad and like yell and scream or something. I don't know. However you like to take things out. But stoicism will, even if it doesn't fully, take all that stuff away, it will definitely take it down quite a bit to where you won't be like, I don't know, like abusive or something like that.
Because when something happens to you, you'll actually analyze that and have a rational response.
yeah,
Before you just react and do something out of pocket.
you could become more emotionally disciplined by learning stoicism. So then you could react to things that do happen to you instead of just, going all out on someone just because this happened to you or something like that.
Yeah, and a great way to practice stoicism is, you could watch videos on YouTube, you can maybe even watch movies, but there's also books like we have right here, Meditations. That was what I believe Marcus Aurelius's,
It was
his own
It's like
personal.
journal, yeah.
It wasn't
Journal.
even supposed to be a book. It was just
Yeah.
what he wrote in his journal to keep himself on track.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it talks about, Devin, I haven't read it yet, but Devin has read it.
Yeah.
And it is, doesn't it really talk about like his life? What does it mainly talk about?
It's all reminders for himself because it was his personal journal.
Okay.
And every single morning, every single night, I don't know what the type, like what time he would write them, but he would wake up and write these things.
Like a log?
Like a log to keep himself. Like if something happened in his life prior, he writes down, what is a way like I can prevent this? So he'll write a rule down and he'll follow that. And he'll like when another similar thing happens to him, he'll think about that and analyze it.
Yeah.
And rather than acting irrational, he'll think and have a rational response to it.
And wasn't his journal in like old English or like very hard?
It was in Roman or what? Greek.
Greek. So yeah, they had to get
They
like a
had to-
translator.
They had to translate it using what was it called? The
Google
stone.
Translate.
It's either Greek or Latin.
Latin. One of the two.
Google
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 Translate.
Translate.
No. No, but I think that's really cool because he didn't write it for it to be a book like for other people to
He
read.
wrote
He
it
just
for himself.
Yeah, it was
so
just
that's
keep
what's so
himself on track.
virtuous about that book.
Yeah, it wasn't written for the public eye to see.
Yeah, it was
It
never-
written for himself.
It was never meant to even be discovered by people to become a book. It was just to keep him on track and just as pretty much like a journal that he writes in every day.
That must have been hella cool when it was found though.
Yeah.
Like you just see this freaking book that was made by one of the greatest Roman emperors. Like
The
that's
last great.
Yeah, the
Roman
last
emperor,
great.
too.
that's crazy.
Definitely.
Like that's some freaking.
And there was 5, right?
yeah.
There were
Yeah.
5. Yeah. Other than Marcus Aurelius, I don't think I.
Off the top of my head, I know.
Yeah, I heard you listening.
Yeah, there was Marcus Aurelius, Nerva, Trajan, Hadrian, and then Antonius Pius, I believe, are the 5.
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ,
and Antonius Pius was the
Wow.
one who adopted
dude, that's hella.
Yeah.
good.
Marcus Aurelius in.
Yeah.
And one of the crazy things that they all have in common is none of them were true like royal blood, I guess, because they were all kind of chosen,
Adopted.
Yeah.
and adopted
They're all
into the royal
adopted.
family,
Definitely.
which that I think that kind of speaks that they weren't like spoiled. They
Yeah.
lived a normal life and then were adopted in.
Mhm.
So that could be the reason why they were one of the 5 great emperors of Rome.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wasn't it Epictetus that Marcus Aurelius looked up to?
Oh, yeah.
Because what they had quite a few things in common, and like
Yeah.
because they both weren't born like what you were saying, like they weren't born into royalty.
Mhm.
Yeah, and in fact, Epictetus was a slave.
Yeah.
Yeah, Epictetus
so-
was a slave, and
It-
so that kind of was like for Marcus Aurelius. I was like, oh, dude, like kind of in the same boat. Not everything's the exact same, but like, you know, this
They're
guy.
not royalty.
Yeah, this guy was pretty great, and so I kind of want to be like that, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah, and he
So-
followed those similar rules.
Yeah, so I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Speaking on Stoicism, another pillar of Stoicism what is it? The trichotomy of control.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Dichotomy.
Dichotomy?
guy who talks about trichotomy, though.
yeah,
Okay, so it's the dichotomy control. It's when something happens to you, what you can control about that situation, and what you can't what you can and can't control about that.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
but you
Right,
can't
yeah.
you can't control the ending like result too.
In a situation, you can. It's all about what you can control in a situation, because you can't control the actual outcome of like a sports game,
Mhm.
but what you can control is how much effort you put in.
Yeah.
And that's what the Stoics really believed in. They believed in putting in your like all your effort, no matter what,
Yeah.
because nothing is guaranteed in life.
Yeah,
Definitely.
another way is like when you get hurt, you can't control how long the injury is gonna take you out for. But what you can control is making sure you go to physical therapy or you take your medicine every single day or
Yeah, to get
whenever.
better as soon as possible.
Yeah.
But you really can't control like when it's gonna be over.
yeah.
Yeah.
But you can put things towards that
Yeah,
to maybe
at-
help it out.
Yeah, at the
as
end
much
of
as
the
you can.
day, it could be a terrible injury and it may take years, but you could just do these little things to at least help it and, maybe heal it faster.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
you're just investing as much.
You,
as
you
Yeah.
do what you can do
Yeah,
the best you can.
yeah.
Mhm.
So I would say, would you guys say the Stoicism is probably your favorite, or maybe like a
Yeah.
Yeah, I see. Well, the crazy thing about all of them, they all like
Kind of.
speak on like the same level of virtue. They're
Yeah.
all talking about being virtuous, being honorable, and doing like being yourself and
yeah,
doing the most you can do.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm
Th-
really
there-
torn between chivalry and bushido. I feel like they're both all 4 are great.
So do you know what chivalry is? It's like,
Right, it's like
Manners,
mannerism
knights.
from the knights.
and then
yeah.
Bushido is like death before dishonor. So it's
yeah.
like
They both
Samurais
speak on
practiced
honor.
it.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was
yeah,
they're
both warrior
warrior
philosophies. But
Huns are
Bushido,
awesome.
when you think of Bushido, you can kind of think of like the samurais.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was a
Miyamoto
phil-
Musashi
it was a
is one of the
philosophy.
main guys that we look at when we talk about Bushido.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, whenever I think of Bushido, I think of it's Minamoto Musashi, like death before dishonor.
Mhm.
Yeah. And Miyamoto Musashi,
That boy was a dog.
he was a dog.
was
Starting
a
at
dog.
11,
Oh, his first kill.
he killed his first guy in one-on-one combat.
Yeah.
I think he went 67-0.
Yeah.
And when you look at that record compared to like a UFC or a boxing record, you lose once, that record doesn't mean anything.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That record, he could have,
Yeah.
But then
You
if you
would've-
lose once in Minamoto Musashi's, you're dead.
you're dead.
There's like sword fights.
Yeah.
Yeah, sword fights to the
This is
death.
awesome.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, I tap out, don't kill me. You
No,
can get
it's-
that win. No, it's
you're
to the
gonna die.
death. It's
Yeah.
death before dishonor.
Yeah.
And like he didn't know when he didn't know when his next when the next opponent would come, right? Didn't people like
I'm not.
I'm
really
not
sure.
exactly sure how that worked. Like if it was like planned out, was it planned? Yeah, he just
Yeah,
traveled all
probably,
over.
yeah.
and
Somebody-
People,
People challenged him.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's all who wants to challenge each other.
Yeah.
And that's crazy. If he would have died at like say 37, he goes 37-1. We never get like the five rings or the Dokudo.
Yeah.
We never get those
great.
like his book of strategy or the principles he lives
Yeah,
by.
the 21
I love
principles.
I love his Five Rings book. That's probably my favorite book that I've read out of all the philosophy books, because there's the four elements. There's water, fire, earth, and wind or air, and then after that, then there's what the nut
Void, yeah.
that, and then you got the Dokudo after.
Yeah, you get the Dokudo after in that same.
And I really like how he's able to mix all four elements or all five elements into like kind of like the same thing. He's relating the way broadly.
Yeah, one of the biggest things he said was once you see the way, you can see it in all things.
Yeah, yeah. Or once you see the way broadly, you can see it in all things.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Can you elaborate on the Dokudo?
I mean, I read it. I mean, I can't go word for word. Like, I mean,
Like, what is it?
The Doko.
it's
the
like his
Doku-
21.
it
It's
was
his 21.
principles.
principles,
Like what
yeah.
he followed.
Yeah, what
it
he
was
lives
his
by.
way.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And when you speak of the way, that'll kind of transition into the
Yin
Tao
and-
Te Ching, Taoism.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It was harmony, because harmony,
Peace,
peace, yin and yang,
Yeah.
black and white, finding
Yeah.
the gray in that.
Yeah, a great book for learning Taoism is the Tao Te Ching. But the thing is, you have to be really good at like analyzing. You have to know like your words,
Yeah.
because that book, I read that book.
It really challenges you.
And honestly, it looks like a big book, but it really isn't. There's like 70 pages of like actual like things to learn in that, but they're kind of hard to understand. Like I had to get Seabass like,
yeah, because you have to break
teach me about
down.
it. But once you learn,
What comes after because it looks like there's more than 70 pages. What comes
Yeah.
after?
so there's always the first couple pages is always like the introduction
Yeah.
pages, and then you get those 70 pages, and then the rest of the pages are like, I'm pretty sure they explain what every single one of them means, but they're in small writing, and they're
Oh,
not
Needs it.
they're not in like pictures or anything
Okay.
like that. It's just it talks about all the different like
Uh,
things you read about.
You know what's crazy about that too? You know, you hear Miyamoto Musashi talk about the way, and the way relating to Taoism. Taoism came from feudal China, right? And Miyamoto Musashi was a samurai from Japan, and he traveled and he implemented all these different things to create his own way.
Yeah,
So I think that's one of my favorite things about Miyamoto Musashi.
yeah. Is
It's
it?
awesome because like all these 4 different philosophies were all over the world, and then, like
Yeah.
they all were basically saying the same thing. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
all
basic
kind of like
principles. Don't cheat, don't lie, don't steal, tell
Yeah.
the truth, do
Be
the right thing when no
honorable.
one's looking.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
some were just like different like cultures. Like some were samurai, some were knights, some
Yeah,
were.
they were all different timelines, probably different places in the world,
Yeah.
but they all relate to the same,
Same thing,
thing.
yeah.
And being I know
Good.
Stoicism talks about this a lot. Marcus Aurelius, I believe, being in accordance with nature and living in accordance with nature and not letting like things that happen to you affect you in a negative way,
Yeah.
and still like being yourself and not letting them change you.
Yeah, and the biggest thing with living in accordance with nature is not like, I guess, like not second guessing things, like putting the pieces together and like being like, oh yeah, if this happens, this is gonna happen. Like it's living in accordance with nature, like being present, like not like
Not worrying about what's going to happen in the future, not worrying about what's going to happen in the past,
Mm-hmm.
being there now and doing what you can do.
Yeah.
And another,
Yeah, go ahead.
I believe Taoism also talks about being in accordance with nature, harmony and peace. So that just again shows you 2 different cultures, 2 different like philosophies, different times, different places on earth, talking about the same thing, all talking about being virtuous.
Yeah. Something that I really like about all these different philosophies is like the what's the word? The architecture and like their buildings and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, from different cultures. Cause like when you get Dao Di Ching, you know, you got like China and like yin and yang, and you know, you get those cool buildings that are
The
like
feudal
Oh yeah.
I think those are
China.
awesome. Like
Yeah.
I want to go to like Japan or China,
Yeah, you
maybe
also
even
get
both.
similar
I
architecture
personally
in
like the
Japan
pillars
as well.
more.
Yeah, no, no,
The
I,
The Roman
and
like
the
from-
arches.
Oh,
yeah, from like yeah, I
Yeah,
definitely
and you
like
really
that.
see that implemented because that all started
Here
like
too.
yeah, it's in here now. It's implemented here.
Yeah, because
that
we
was
copied
from
the
We took it from the
Greek.
Romans,
Greek.
and the
No,
Romans took it from the
Yeah,
Greek.
we took. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
Mhm.
I think. Well, the whole idea of the U.S. Being built on a democracy was from the Greeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was from.
Yeah. It's a
You
Greek
hear the
word.
story of the 300.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was from. It's because they were trying to have a new idea of government called
Mhm.
democracy, and the Persians they didn't like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Someone's doing something differently.
Yeah.
Well, they try to take them out,
Mm-hmm.
and it was because the 300 and King Leonidas they fought for that,
Yeah.
which started an uprising, and everybody from ancient Greece
Mhm.
fought back against that to actually have democracy. And then you see the Romans, they copied democracy,
Mhm.
and then that's kind of where we got it from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think how the Spartans, like the 300, like that timeline, how 300 Spartans
Mhm.
were able to take down freaking hundreds of thousands of Persians
Yeah.
and like
Yeah,
immortals
holding
and
their ground.
stuff. Like that's crazy to think about. And if it wasn't for them, like who knows? Like we
We
might
might
have
not
been
even be
been alive,
That fatal funnel.
but we
made
might
it
not be
way
here.
easier.
We
We
might
wouldn't be speaking.
we might be under
English.
different
We could be-
rules. Like that's crazy to think about that. I mean, I know that the other groups of Spartans they definitely helped, but that 300 were like
That's
Well,
the
'cause
butterfly
those were the
effect, right?
guys.
Yeah, it's
That-
the butterfly effect.
Yeah.
Without the 300 holding their ground for that long,
Yeah.
there wouldn't have been reinforcements. I mean, not reinforcements because the
Yeah.
300 ended up dying,
Yeah.
but there wouldn't have been another wave that ended up killing off the Persian.
Yeah.
And I think
defeating the
about
Persians.
something with that army is they were freaking good fighters,
Oh, yeah,
but
were all
they
warriors.
it was King Leonidas that made the soldiers want to fight for him
Mhm.
because
Well, more than just him,
They wanted to fight
They fight
for
They
Sparta.
fought for a
For-
cause for
yeah.
Sparta.
yeah, and it was also cool how King Leonidas was like kind of in charge, but and he was also on the front lines.
Oh, yeah.
He was
Like same with like George Washington
Yeah,
too.
he's-
Like he was the freaking president, but he was on the
the
Yeah.
Front lines. Yeah.
yeah he was fighting,
Mhm.
and I think that's really cool. To, like be a
I mean, it speaks volumes about who you are as a leader.
exactly.
You don't put yourself before these other people because you're
Exactly.
one of them.
Napoleon as well. He did that as well.
Napoleon did that. Yeah. I
Mhm.
mean, you see that. That's a common theme with leaders back then.
Oh yeah.
They. I mean, society's definitely different today because now you don't see our presidents fighting.
Well, it
front
didn't
Yeah.
lines.
always happen back then as well. Like the Islamic guy, I don't know his name, but he had like all of his soldiers.
He had
and
his
didn't-
shoulders.
He didn't get
Yeah.
involved.
It was just a pretty common theme. you
Yeah.
would see.
Definitely.
How did like the knights like would kings of like castles like would they go fight too or like how does I'm not really
Yeah. It honestly depends on who the
yeah. Who's the leader?
who the
who's-
leader was as
Yeah.
a person.
okay. And like also another thing with like knights in their like armies like what would I wonder what like an average number would be like would it, I'm guessing probably a lot
Yeah.
Yeah.
but like
yeah.
it would it be as much as like the Persians or like
Probably not.
as much as the
No.
immortals.
I wouldn't think so.
Because the Persians had
You said
they had a
Crusaders?
lot of
Huh?
You said Crusaders. You wonder what their numbers would be?
No, knights.
The-
just
Oh.
knights in general.
Just like a knight,
Well,
just like a normal
to
knight.
be a knight, you had to go through like certain training.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
And didn't you also have to be Christian?
Christian, yes.
Had to be Christian.
Christian.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people would fake. Like a lot of don't you think a lot of people they just wanted to be a knight and they wanted to
Yeah,
have
there's-
like the armor and
well,
like
yeah, because then you see what they would do when they go through and pillage. Like,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Village.
yeah. So yeah,
That's
there's-
why religion needs to be tied to virtue and philosophy.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny you say that because circle back, Tao Te Ching is philosophy and a religion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty
Oh,
cool
yeah.
because like
Mm.
Taoism.
that separates that from different philosophies. They're all great,
Yeah.
but like that believes that the universe is God.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah,
like,
and
everything
there's-
kind of flows and God's like an energy. almost.
Yeah.
While
Yeah.
like Christians, myself, a Christian,
Yeah.
I believe that like God created the universe
Mhm.
and then like God he set him human self down. He was a prophet, and he was also a philosopher, which is
Yeah, and you see religion all the time. People, like, I mean, at least for like nights, they would use religion to kind of give it. What was it? I was gonna say something. It was
To give it
they. I guess they
like-
use it in a bad way. God,
some
I'm blanking on the word.
maybe not all
Sorry.
maybe not all.
Yeah,
of
they would
them.
use it to justify. They tried to use God to justify what they did
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
when God wouldn't want that. He
Yeah.
doesn't want to be used to justify these murders, these deaths,
Mm-hmm.
these wars.
Yeah, they would like pray to him in like a bad way.
Yeah, you
You
need.
think they can hear me fine? I'm like back there.
Yeah, you're probably good.
All right. Hello. Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
okay,
we're good.
good.
But
Yeah, but you see, you need to tie religion and philosophy like together, because religion just by itself, it's I believe in God. Philosophy added onto that,
Is how to
gives
practice it.
how to practice it and
Mhm.
how it gives you like structure
yeah.
Mhm.
and what to do, and it
Yeah.
it really will take it to the next level to where you're not just because when you see people who just believe in God, they'll put like proverbs in their bio, but they don't actually
Yeah,
live it
apply
Mhm.
those.
Yeah.
until their deathbeth. And then they're like, oh God, like
Please hit
please
me.
send me to
Everyone when they're
heaven.
dying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all like
everyone,
that. But they don't
everyone-
actually like show it in their life.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If you're a philosopher and you're practicing virtue, you'll be doing those things to like go to heaven throughout your life.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta practice it like all throughout your life, because a lot of people like to go to God when they're like in trouble or when something
need.
bad.
And they need something.
Yeah, and they need something like. I've been a victim of this before, like before football games, and Seabass was telling us about how it got to a point like he was praying in the national anthem, and he was praying for too much. Like he was kind of asking God to win this game for him.
He wouldn't pray like on his own time.
Yeah,
He'd
and-
only
and
pray
I-
when he needed it.
I've definitely been a victim of that before, but now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now that I've had more like practice with it, and I've like told myself like, oh, you shouldn't pray like that, I say like I pray for the strength to
Yeah, because God wouldn't want to just do it for you.
yeah
Mm.
God wants
that's not
you
the
to.
God.
He wants you
You
to
to be
struggle so you
virtuous.
can grow as a person.
yeah he gives you these struggles because he trusts you as a person to get through them and to learn from them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's what I like to tell a lot of people, because a lot of people are like they have a tough time, and then they go to God and they ask God, why are they giving this person like bad
Yeah,
times?
You hear a lot of stories like that. Where it's a guy and he's prays for God. Can I have the strength to like do these things? And God will give him a struggle and hardships, and he's like, God, why? But in reality, God's giving him these hardships so he has the strength to overcome them. So then he has that strength for his whole life.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Have you guys heard of the stories where like people are like on the like verge of like ending themselves, and then they look up and they see like God in their room? Like I was watching this Instagram reel one time. This guy was this close to like pulling the trigger, and he put it down and he looked up and he saw God like
No, I
right
haven't heard of
right in
that.
his room, and I thought
Like similar things, yeah, but
it was like pretty
Yes.
trippy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and there's other stories. Like I've heard stories about people like passing away, and then they go up to heaven and they come back, and it's weird. I don't know. There's some
I haven't heard
trippy.
stuff like that.
There's some
but-
crazy stories, but that stuff is like, it kind of gets you some goosebumps. It's like, dude, it's like, is
Man, it
there
really
is there
makes you
is there
question,
eternal
is there-
life? Like I believe there is eternal life after death,
Yeah.
but it's
I
there's
agree.
some crazy stories.
If you're practicing those virtues and
It's like page 37, Dylan.
if you're practicing those virtues, you won't maybe not live eternally, but I think you'll be content with your life at least.
Yeah.
You'll feel like you lived a good life,
Mhm.
not one where you just threw it away.
Yeah.
That's why you should practice virtues and character.
Yeah.
and when we talk about like philosophies, it's not like there's theoretical philosophies and then there's
Oh, yeah.
practical.
Yeah.
So like
Mhm.
practical like philosophies these are teaching you like how to be a good person, while like philosophies that teach you in like school.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see colleges all the time
it's
where
like-
they offer philosophy classes.
Yeah.
Like
What came
philosophy
first, like
one.
the chicken and the egg, like stuff
Yeah.
like that.
It's
This is, like,
theoretical philosophy.
Two different things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, theoretical philosophies are all about just theory and like making your mind think.
Yeah.
While these philosophies are more practical life philosophies
Yeah.
that you apply to your life, that you
Mhm.
can
On a-
apply to these religions to become someone who practices
Yeah.
it more often.
Something that you apply to your life on an everyday basis.
Mhm.
Cause like, and on obviously like no one's perfect. Like you don't want to be perfect, and you know that might sound crazy to some people. But what I mean is, I talked about it in the first pod.
Mhm.
You don't want to be perfect because if you're perfect, then there's nothing to learn.
There's nothing to work on for you.
Exactly.
For yourself.
And that's not how life is. There's always something to work on. There's always something you can get better at.
You should always
exactly.
strive to be perfect.
Yeah.
You
So
should, strive to be perfect. 'Cause
Yeah.
it might never happen, but you're working towards that goal and you're getting better and you're bettering yourself.
yeah. So I believe in your everyday life, you should try to be practicing some philosophy. Maybe it depends on what's going on in your life. Like, for example, you might use stoicism when you have something bad going on, like maybe something with your home life, or maybe your dog died, or maybe a family member died. Like that's, and not taking it out on other people. Like one time last year, we were on our 8th grade field trip, and someone very important to me had died, and I had cried about it in my dad's truck before we got on the bus, and then I didn't talk about it and for the whole rest of the day, and I didn't, like I wasn't bringing anyone down with me because I didn't want that to, I didn't want to put it on other people.
Yeah.
And then a few days later, then I had a character talk, and that was the very first character
Yeah, I
talk I had
remember
ever teared up about.
Yeah, I remember that.
And that's when I realized that I was able to, I was growing, and I was able to like cry in front of my buddies about talking about something like that. But stoicism, yeah, you should definitely practice. Or maybe Dao Di Ching, when you know there's good in the bad, bad in the good.
Yeah.
Finding the good and being optimistic about like everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think when you have something going wrong in specifically home life, I think yin and yang is probably one of the biggest things you can apply to that, because good in the bad.
Finding the good and the bad.
The good and the bad is like you can learn maybe something's going on with your parents. You can learn like how to not be like that as a parent.
Yeah,
Like that's the good you can take. You can take the learning skills and like you can
hear
take that
Bruce
stuff.
Lee talk about that.
I was just gonna say
Taking
that.
what's good and discarding what's bad.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah, Bruce Lee was really big on yin and yang.
Yeah, that was like the main philosophy.
Well, because that's where he was like from.
Did we elaborate on all four of these?
We could.
I don't
we
think
didn't really do. We kind of mentioned chivalry, and then we.
Oh, I
shifted.
mean, well, we can talk about like the 5 rings. I mean, well, we have in our martial arts, we have water, earth, fire, and wind, and we all have our own notebooks, and
where
we
write
wrote down
like, the philosophies of those.
yeah, and it was really cool because Seabass had wrote, you know, he had wrote these quotes, these big long quotes, and we wrote them down in our notebook. And like for example, like fire is like mad, like getting mad, but it's also has to do something with love.
And, like explosive
Being
as
passionate.
well.
Explosive,
It's being
passionate,
passionate and
yeah.
explosive. And then there's water being controlled.
Yeah,
Air
Adapting.
adapted. Yeah.
and then like
Then
wind or air
wind.
is like high cardio, being quick in and out, you know, being smart. I mean, all of them have to do with being smart, but like
Yeah. And then there's that
Earth.
gray state. I mean, there's also earth, being
yeah, which is
rooted,
yeah,
planted in your ways,
yeah,
and being strong, you know, having a good solid base. And then you have the gray state, as we call it, which is just like the void and
Yeah.
5 rings.
yeah.
It's when all of them are coming together seamlessly
Mm-hmm.
and harmony, and everything's working together, and you don't really have to think about what to do next. You just kind of do it.
Yeah, the best fighter is the fighter who can use all 4 elements in one
Yeah.
fight when it's needed,
Exactly.
and not being like, oh, I use water for 5 minutes or 2 minutes, maybe it's time to go on to the next one. Like it's
yeah,
like,
no, it's
oh,
like
so
seamlessly.
this guy's a bigger opponent and he's staying rooted to the ground. I might go air style on him and try to get quick shots on him, try to gas him out.
Well, yeah, and that would relate to life and all these different philosophies, knowing when and what time to use these different philosophies. So that's why, at least in our club, we're not just one philosophy.
Yeah.
We take bits and pieces of every single one of them
Yeah.
and implement them into our life.
Yeah.
And I think that really helps.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, I mean, they all talk about being virtuous and being good,
Yeah.
but they all definitely have their own things that they've, their own differences and their own things that make them unique.
Yeah, and like the different people, like there's like the Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic, or there's Miyamoto Musashi, Dao De Ching. There's different
I
people.
believe Lao Tzu.
Lao Tzu, yeah. There's different people
Oh, is
that,
that how you say that?
yeah, Lao Tzu.
Yeah.
Dude,
How do you spell? It's L-O-U
It's like
Z
No, it's like
L-A-O-T-Z-U.
T-Z-U.
Yeah.
Lao Tzu. Yeah.
Confusing, huh?
Yeah.
And then you have knights for chivalry. And we can elaborate more on chivalry. We brought it up. And
What's the difference between like crusades and like crusaders and knights? What's the difference there?
So the Crusades, going back, just speaking on Crusades, that was what
12?
the Templars.
Oh, that, yeah.
The Crusades were what the Templars used to try and take back the Holy Land, or
yeah.
Jerusalem
Jerusalem, yeah.
from the Muslims at the time.
Isn't it like when they all get together? That's when
Yeah,
like
they would
crusades?
like form a big group, like all the knights, because there was German Teutonic knights,
Yeah.
there was the French knights. They would all kind of work together to take back that Holy Land.
because of Jerusalem.
Because Jerusalem.
Let's just letting them know.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, then knights were just, they were like I guess they could have been they could be crusaders, but a knight was just someone who believed in Christianity and fought for their country.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why I just randomly thought, but Joan of Arc, that was a
Joan of Arc, she was French.
yeah.
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 Didn't
so
she lie about being a dude so she could fight for her
yeah,
country?
she cut her hair, right? Yeah, she cut her hair. Yeah, that was I think that's hella cool.
She's badass.
Yeah, she is badass. Like
You look
that's
at like
she was
crazy
she was also
warriors.
16.
She was
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she was fucking kicking all these dudes.
Yeah,
asses.
she lived 16 though.
Yeah.
You get it. You even have a Rainbow Six Siege character.
Oh yeah,
after her,
Twitch.
based after her.
Are you
Twitch.
serious?
Yeah, Twitch.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't play.
Isn't Twitch
I haven't
the
played Siege in forever, but yeah.
what can Twitch do? Like mess with the cameras?
She has a shock drone.
Oh yeah.
Idiot.
She's part of the GIGN. So is Doc, Rook. Yeah.
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 Jakes, don't you grind Siege?
A little bit.
I bet he does.
Yeah, what's your level? What's your level on Call of Duty? What's your level? Isn't it like 500?
Yeah, it was. I don't play
God
COD
damn.
anymore.
Yeah, you're too cool
I don't
for
really
COD.
play COD anymore.
Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, philosophies, like everyone
Yeah.
should take a look at that for sure.
100%. These philosophies will help you grow as a person. They'll help you with people around you.
Getting closer to your religion.
Getting closer with your religion. Getting closer to the people, like your loved ones.
There's some awesome
can help
quotes
you.
too.
Way to
So many
express your
ways.
feelings.
Way
Yeah.
to expect. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's just philosophies. It's like endless.
Yeah, and then
ways to
Struggle with that.
grow.
Practicing.
Expressing feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A lot of
practicing.
men as well. But
Yeah,
a lot of
and
You
then
see it a lot.
practicing philosophy really mitigates how often you really lash out on someone, and kind of like don't have a rational response to them, and you kind of go out on them. It really mitigates and lowers how often that does happen, if it does happen at all.
Yeah.
It'll
and then-
mitigate the bad in your life just in general, I feel like. And
Absolutely.
it'll allow you to be optimistic and find the good in everything.
Yeah, and then once people see that you can control your emotions, like what Stoics do, they're gonna be like, "Oh, you might take a slap in the face or a punch in the face," and you might be like, "Find God, dude," and just walk away.
Yeah.
My God,
Find
dude.
God.
Literally,
Yeah.
I got prank called one time, and he was saying I'm a low life and I have absolutely nothing special in my life, and I should like I don't
Yeah,
know,
when was this? We didn't hear about
like
this.
last week.
Last week.
Yeah,
Wow.
and he was saying I'm a
Dang.
he's saying I have absolutely nothing special going on in my life.
Just like, God bless you.
And
God bless
I
you.
was like, fine God, dude, and I left.
Yeah,
That's
you
awesome.
start to feel for those people because
Yeah.
it sucks. But all you can do is pray for them and hope they find
Yeah.
love. or
There's
find
also
God.
there's also
better than
cool
life.
videos like what Charisma on Command
Oh yeah.
that produce some awesome videos.
Yeah.
It's mainly like Stoic stuff, isn't it? Is it only Stoic?
No.
It's just
no.
charisma
Yeah, it's-
speaking and
yeah.
Well, I know that the Stoic
Philosophies.
part that they post, or like the Stoic quotes that they post, are awesome, and I think Stoic quotes are some of the most like coldest quotes ever. There's some awesome quotes. There's some
Yeah.
badass
Oh,
quotes.
I think there's badass quotes from every single philosophy.
Yeah.
And every single
Yeah, I'm saying on average, like you
on
just
average.
yeah, on average, the Stoics have some awesome.
Hey, what
quotes.
about Proverbs? Those are basically quotes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, the verses.
The verses
Yeah.
in general.
Quote them, yeah. Verses, they're just great.
The verses are one of the, at least for me in Christianity, that's like one of my favorite things.
Mm-hmm.
Because those are like the tenets, like how you should live life,
how
the
you
rules
practice,
you should
yeah.
live by.
Yeah.
yeah.
Definitely.
Do you guys have a favorite verse from the Bible?
I do not.
Philippines 4:13, I think, is one of mine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mine is
Do all things
Matthew.
through Christ or
Seabass
something.
showed me this one.
Yeah.
So it's either Romans 8:18, which is one I looked on myself, or it's Matthew 19:24.
Mine's probably Mark 10:27 is my favorite.
Yeah, the Matthew 10 or
Jeez,
Matthew
these are so
19:24, it says it's easier for like a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a man to reach the like God or heaven, and it's basically saying how you can't reach like heaven or God. You can't
To
you
be godlike.
Well, not even that. It's just like you have to pass away and like practice his stuff, and it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle
Mm.
than for a man to enter like God's gates
Mm.
when he doesn't practice his stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm pretty sure it means. I mean, I might be ballpark, I might be off a little bit, but
Swing and a miss.
yeah, swing and miss. But and then
Anyway.
but yeah, that's I like that quote a lot.
Mm.
Do you
Yeah,
do you know your
Yeah, I think it is something like Jesus looked at him and said, "With man it's impossible, but not for as is God, as all things are possible with God." I think it's something like that.
I feel like a lot of the verses have that main message, like through God, like anything is possible.
Mm-hmm.
I know my verse, but I don't want to say it wrong. Like I'm almost certain, but like I'm gonna throw it out there.
Yeah.
What is it?
It's something from John. It's you may not know now.
John
but-
3:16?
But later you'll understand. No, the internal one. No, that one's good, but no, it's you may not know now, but later you will understand.
Mm-hmm.
It's like trust God's plan. 'Cause
Mhm.
Yeah,
God has
okay.
a plan for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Like Job, he trusted God's plan. I
Mhm.
mentioned him a lot. I like
Yeah.
Job's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, we
But,
talked about wrestling with God. That kind of circles back to it
absolutely.
because you're like you question it, but then he says, "Just trust me."
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
You know,
God didn't even
Have your
talk to
faith.
him during his like struggles when he was going through like adversity and agony. He had his friends there, and his friends were like just speaking with him, and Job was like, "Why have you forsaken me?" A bunch of stuff. I don't know. I encourage everyone here to read it. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, the Bible has some very good stories
Mhm.
that I definitely want to keep up on. And but yeah.
kind of just to circle back to that main message though for the people, you really need to like or you don't need to, but I think it's very beneficial just to practice these philosophies.
Yeah.
Be
Mhm.
healthy.
If you want to be a better man, woman, father, brother, sister,
Mm.
You want to drink
Just
or
a better
something?
Oh, it's all
person.
gone.
Just a better
Damn.
person. Yeah, I drank mine
I
as
haven't
well.
even opened mine.
Yeah.
I'm gonna shotgun this out.
The mango chainsaw one is so good.
It is. It really is.
Wait, what's the flavor of that one?
It doesn't say.
Sponsor us.
It just says sparkling water.
It's just normal sparkling water.
So it's just
Yeah.
literally water, but
It's sparkling water, dude.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
like it makes it like 10 times better.
Yeah,
It's like
but it's
Alpine.
liquid death.
It's
Yeah, dude, I
straight
know.
from the
You gotta know.
Alps.
Murder
Yeah.
your thirst.
straight from the Alps.
Hell yeah.
We're not sponsored.
It could be though.
Yeah.
Yeah, sponsor.
We
us.
could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, Liquid Death. If you're gonna watch this, sponsor. us.
Yeah.
I think
Anyway.
did we,
Anyway.
We've covered all these, right?
Yeah, I think
Uh,
we went over them in
Bushido,
depth.
the Five Rings. We did Marcus Aurelius, and we related that to Stoicism. Dao, Tai Chi.
I have one more thing. So you know, like the void or like the gray state.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I know Devin and I have had times like in martial arts where we've been able to use all different levels of like, or not levels, but all different philosophies. Jacob, I don't know. I mean, you don't have as much sparring time as us, but do you feel strong on all the philosophies? Like,
Yeah, I feel pretty decent. I feel like I'm definitely more of a wind,
yeah,
but I feel pretty comfortable, you know, transitioning into earth or fire or whatever it may be.
yeah,
Just wait for Jake's to have the go with Zane.
yeah,
They're gonna run it back.
yeah.
Hey, gonna be a live stream. Tune in.
Yeah, I would say for
I'm gonna
me,
give Zane the leg kicks of hell again.
I
His
was
entire
UFC
his entire
550.
leg was bruised.
It's gonna be UFC
yeah.
550.
Yeah.
oh my gosh, yeah,
Zane's gonna get his
I would say for me, I mean, I could go all, but the two that I'm really like into is earth and fire because I'm big and I can root myself to the ground, but like I also have like not anger issues.
Road rage.
but
Bro, whispered that.
Not
I do get a little
A little feisty sometimes.
little feisty.
yeah,
If,
your roid rage.
well, like if
Crash out.
well, like if I get rocked, dude, I'm gonna want to kick the guy's ass. Come on.
Well,
And
even
I'm
in
sure you-
basketball, if someone
even
like
in-
steps on your foot, you're gonna start swinging
No,
on
if
them.
he
That's
just
where you gotta
misses
slow
a
down.
shot.
Yeah,
Look
no.
at it. Look at it
Yeah,
under a
analyze it,
microscope
be stoic
and
about it.
respond and not react.
Yeah.
No, if the ref
Nah, but he
calls
doesn't know how
any
to do
foul
that.
on Jaden, they might catch hands.
No,
All
I
right, I
swear.
think that's.
that
think
kind
it's
of
good, yeah.
closes it.
Yeah.
though.
That was
I think
pretty
we
good. I
covered
like that.
everything, all talking points.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was pretty good. I like that.
Thank you for tuning in. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Go follow the Insta. And tune into that live stream. We're going to have Zanipu and Jake's fight, UFC 550. Tune in. And thank you for watching.
Peace out.
Peace out.